YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with the video I'm very excited to do like every year here. My favorite prospects in the 2020 NFL Draft and basically my guys of the 2020 NFL Draft here. So players that I'm a lot higher than pretty much everybody, most people, and guys that I think will make a bigger impact than maybe you think out there. So we're going to break down these players, quite a few of them that I really like in this great draft class. And before we get started, we're going to be live during the NFL Draft, April 23rd, day one. Predictions, reactions, right here on YouTube. Please join us for that. Follow both of our channels, the Goat House and the Goat House Plus, and then follow that Twitter. We'll do my final mock draft during the day before the draft on that Twitter. It's a must-follow, constant NFL draft action there. Absolute must-follow. Link in the description and comments for anything you need here. We're gonna start a little, cold, even though I like all these guys, but then go to the guys that are like really at the top of my list of my guys here. Start with Julian Okwara here from Notre Dame, a guy I'm definitely higher on than most, a pass rusher that I think, in terms of his talent, should go first round, and I think he will go mid to late second. I think what teams have on him in terms of a grade is probably earlier to mid second because he had an injury during the year. He could drop a little further in that. But, kind of looking at everyone, media boards, no, he's not really getting a lot of talk to. And I think, the reason for that, people go run and look at the stats. How many sacks did he have? Well, he only played 8 games this year, and he had a decent amount of numbers. But if you really look at the tape and deep into the numbers, how productive he was just getting after the quarterback. He was one of the most productive in this class, right there with Chase Young. There's actually some numbers that will be ahead of Chase Young. So he gets after the quarterback. What stands out to him, dropping back coverage. So Notre Dame had him do that a lot. So I don't think he's really getting so I'm not really that far off on, I guess, grades and where people may have him. So that's why this isn't, my top, my guy here. But, I just don't know if he's getting the attention he deserves or, the respect maybe right now. There's a lot more to his game. He's a very talented pass rusher. So he makes the 2020 My Guys list here. Looking forward to see where he goes. Josiah DeGuara, a guy I'm way higher on. Take a look at the tight end rankings. I don't think anybody has him as high as me. I don't look at a whole bunch of people's tight end rankings, or any position rankings, but made sure to check out a few, going into this. And I have him my 4th tight end on the board. I don't know anybody that has him that high, and I would put him around 4th round. And I think kind of the feeling is most people have him around, just inside the top 10 tight ends, and he could go 6th, maybe 5th. So you can see the difference there. The reason why I really like him is because I just think he's today's tight end. I think he might be the best route runner out of the tight ends in this class. He can block. You want to talk about lining him up at fullback at times. He can do so much. I think he belongs in the field. On every down as well. So he can be such a threat. The reason why he's not getting the attention, people just look at his height. Everyone looks at the position. He just wants this 6'6", 6'7" monster, So I think that's where the lack of respect comes in here for Josiah DeGuara, one of my guys here, the tight end from Cincinnati. Who's up next? Anthony McFarland Jr. If you remember way back in the start of this process, I was tweeting about Anthony McFarland, put on his tape. I really enjoyed it. Not a guy that it's a huge difference on where he is on my board, maybe not a giant difference. I think most people just think him as a day 3 guy. I think 4th round the latest. I wouldn't have a problem with somebody taking him a 3rd round. The vision, the speed and the elusiveness combined. Again, I think people see him as a small dude, so they kind of want to write him off. But those things combined, I actually think he can be a sneaky good impact. Depends on the team, of course, especially for running back, but sneaky good impact early on. I think he'll catch the ball out of the backfield pretty well as well. So it's pretty, for me, if you just see a guy that just always hits the hole, doesn't hesitate, and he can do a little bit after, it's a safe prospect, and he has, and then with more potentially, and that's what I see in Anthony McFarland, a home run hitter, and he always sees the hole. So I do like him a lot. Been on the Anthony McFarland train for some time now. Next, we got Antoine Winfield Jr., who I sneak in here. In terms of where I think he should go and where other people think he should go, it's not that much of a difference. I just have him clear-cut best safety in the class. And I think most people, there's other people now that have that. I've had him up top for quite some time. But just looking at most people, you see McKinney is pretty much one for almost anybody, And then they got dealt it, maybe even Ashton Davis. But so I think he's clear-cut one. You look at the playmaking ability, you look at the ability to play. I like him at free or slot corner, but the ability to play pretty much anywhere back there is just fantastic. He's got the instincts. He's just going to attack the ball. He's going to attack the ball, and he's going to be at the highland. Sometimes those guys don't have much else to their game. They kind of just attack the ball. They can't tackle. Pursuit angles are pretty poor. Being able to read plays, recognize play, and he has all that. So he's not really missing much. It's just the height, I guess, is what some teams won't like. So clear safety one for me, big-time playmaker, one of the better playmakers on the defensive side in the draft. So Antoine Winfield Jr., who happens to be on top of it. So maybe that factors into it too, but I think it's okay that his father, Antoine Winfield, is actually my favorite cornerback of all time. I kind of grew up watching him, and kind of undersized and was never afraid to come up and tackle and was a sure tackler. Like that guy kind of stood out to me. So, and I think his son can kind of bring that same energy, maybe a different position. But I do like that as well. That does mean something. Moving on, Ross Blacklock I like. Not a huge difference on boards. I've seen people all over the place on the boards. I actually seen some people kind of closer to me inside the top 25. But then I've seen people even back behind 40. So I kind of split the difference there. But the main reason he's here is because I think he's going to be a lot better than he was in college. And that's a guy I've been saying that for some time. I think he's going to be a lot better. I think he's going to be very productive getting after the quarterback, and that's for an interior defensive lineman, and we know how important that is. There's not a whole long list of interior D linemen that can get after the quarterback, and when they do, it's game changing, and they're big time players. I think Blacklock could be that. So I can almost guarantee he'll be better in the NFL than he was in college, and I thought he was pretty solid in college there at TCU. So I do like Ross Blacklock. He's going to be top 25 on my board here. Next up, we got Jalen Reagor. So back-to-back TCU players, pretty good players from TCU at the top. Rough year may have to do with the quarterback play and why Reagor might be not getting as much respect as he deserves is mainly because of quarterback play, but those people don't know that. You watch the tape, you watch the plays where he didn't do any, he didn't actually get the reception, make the play, but he has so many wins that were left without an actual win on the field because the quarterback play. Just wasn't a fan of the team, really. I usually like Patterson as a coach, or I used to at least, but messy situation over there recently. But, this guy wins at the line. He can run routes. He's got crazy speed. I think he ran high 4.4s at the combine, and people were disappointed. That's still flying first off. He's faster on tape. He just put on a bunch of size and a ridiculous amount of muscle, then ran faster at his virtual pro day. So he's an absolute freak. You can put him anywhere you want. You can get him the deep ball, which he's great at. You can get him the end arounds. You can get him the screen pass. He's going to continue to get better. Another TCU player that I am going to guarantee he is going to be a lot better in the NFL. He's on the level with Henry Ruggs here. He's more built than Henry Ruggs too, and he does some similar things. So those are reasons why he's on here. I think he should be a top 25 lock. A lock. He should not get past that point. And some people kind of view him, maybe he'll sneak in the first, but it's all right if he goes around, top 40. I think he should be a first-round lock. Freaky dude, rare dude. Another reason, my favorite time of the year, NFL draft, just evaluating prospects. We do a lot of things here at the Goat House. I try to get everything I do right. My favorite thing is evaluating prospects. What I take the most pride in. And for a long time I've been evaluating these guys. And sometimes I feel like I just get the feeling off a guy. Other people that love the draft so much have know this exactly what I'm talking about. You kind of just get this feeling off this guy on top of the other things I said, and that's kind of what goes into Jalen Reagor being on my list here. Next up, we got Chase Claypool, and this one I'm going to take some credit for Chase Claypool because I've been hyped. If you remember from the mock drafts really early in the process, I was hyping up Claypool. I was saying he should be later in the second round. Nobody's talking about him all. Everyone's talking about moving him to tight end. He shows up at the combine. He dominates it, and everyone's going, oh, wait, all right, maybe this guy, let's go back and watch. Maybe he's good. And I was kind of hyping him up for a while. And it's just a very likable dude. He can do so much. A big guy that size that can play in the slot, and he can play out. He can play outside. On top of that, it's a football player that you really like. So mainly on here because I hyped him up way before the world did. I feel like I don't focus on everybody. Somebody else probably was too. And I do think he should go earlier than when he's a weird one though. Like it wouldn't completely floor me if he went late first round, but he also can go around the top 100 range. But I think he should be a top 60. That's the end of the set. I mean, easily a top 64 lock, easily. Freakish rare dude there. So Chase Claypool, similar boat here. Denzel Mims, a guy, same thing. I was hyping up for quite some time. Put on the tape, and I was talking about it on Twitter, talking about it on videos. I realized, his biggest strength was how he uses his length to create separation, to create this last-second extension away from in the physicality on top of that, and then make the play. It's almost unbeatable. And these are things I was talking about, real early. And then the combine hits. He dominates the combine. Then everyone's like, all right, let's finally go watch this guy. Okay, wait, he's good. And again, I'm sure other people noticed too. I'm just not saying it was only me, but from what I've seen, I felt like I was on top of Denzel Mims pretty early. On top of that, he's top 15 on my board. I don't think there are some people that I've seen like top 25, and there's people that are way lower on him. They just don't think he's going to be able to handle the NFL corners. So on top of all that, I do have him really high on my board. So I think it's a pro-ready NFL receiver making an impact right away. Top 15 on my board. We're getting down to the last few here. Maybe a little more than that. Kayvon Wallace, I've been hyping up for some time as well. I think he should be a second-round pick around there, but he probably could drop way further than that. Some teams may not view him as fit or may not know what to do with him. He's listed as safety. That's just what he was listed coming into Clemson, kind of stayed there. And some people are kind of ranking him with the safeties. I feel like those people didn't watch the tape, whoever. And there's a lot of people that ranked him as safeties. As a safety, you watch the tape. He played slot corner. I mean, he played safety at times. He definitely did. He played linebacker at times too, but he played slot corner a lot. I like him at slot corner, but when he was in the box, almost an outside linebacker position, he really looked good. Reading the plays, not getting fooled, misdirection, any of that. Just sniffing out the play in the backfield. Very rangy. This guy almost feels like an underweight linebacker, and what that tells me is that he played slot corner, my number one slot corner, played slot corner at a pretty high level. There's a lack of them that he can play slot corner. Most teams are taking out another linebacker, putting in a nickel corner in there. But he can do both for you. If you need an outside linebacker on the field, you want to put him in the box, you can do that. I don't think he's going to be a safety. I think he's a slot corner and kind of a box player there. So I like Wallace. I see more from his game than anybody else. Nobody's bringing up the linebacker thing. He's really good at it. So he's a good football player. I think mainly the 4-3 teams that run nickel quite a bit are going to be interested in him kind of moving around those spots like I'm talking. So a guy that I think will surprise some people there. So, and he should go a lot earlier. We'll see if he does. Next up, we got Antonio Gibson. People probably expected him on my guys list because I've talked about him. I view him as a natural running back, even though he has very limited amount of carries. He just seems like a natural to me. On top of that, I mean, you got to like that he can play receiver at a pretty high level, too. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, he is strong, dude, too. You watch him run inside the tackles or whatever, inside, outside. He drags some carries. You watch the Cincinnati game, the AAC championship game. He had 11 carries in that game for big yards. But if you actually watch the game, like I just said, he had 11 carries. How many times was he in the backfield? He was in the backfield 11 times. Every time he lined up in the backfield, other than that, he was at receiver. Every time he lined up in the backfield, he got the ball. I think Cincinnati was catching on to that. He was running dudes over, dragging them. He's got the vision. He's got the bounce. And then he ran a 4.39 as well. So that freak of size with that freak of speed, that much versatility, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. This guy will be a dominant player in the right team, and they could take him in the second round there. But he'll probably go a little later because some teams might have him as a receiver, some may have him as a running back, some teams may not know what to do with him. Those teams are stupid. So he could drop a little bit. I wouldn't be completely shocked if he was a second round pick. I'm a huge Antonio Gibson fan. This is one of my top guys here in the draft, but I got quite a few of them. Next, we got Isaiah Simmons. Feel kind of cheap, something normally I don't do. Put a top-tier player in my guys, but I absolutely have to. I mean, you look at where he is on my board, where he is in the other people's board. I grade him elite, top 3 player, no question about it. He's not number 4, he's top 3. He's a once in a lifetime player. That's the way I view him. I've never seen. I watched a lot of football. I've never seen an Isaiah Simmons ever. I don't know if we will. Probably in the future, there'll probably be some other freaky dude to come along. But the guy that can impact, the linebacker's not the most important position, even though it's more important than people think in football, because they kind of do one thing. They stop in the run, or what are they doing? Isaiah Simmons does everything. Is he better at stopping the run? Being rangy? Is he better at blitzing? Inside? Is he better rushing from the edge? Is he better in coverage? Is he better at linebacker, corner, safety? There's really no right answer because he's really, really good at all of that. We've never seen a player like this. We've heard coaches talk about, those linebackers that kind of can cover or they can get after the quarterback. Those are the guys we're focusing on when we're game planning because we don't really know what we're going to do. We're trying when we're watching film, we're trying to pick up what this guy's doing, trying to find a pattern. If you having problems game plan against those guys, I don't know what you're going to do against Isaiah Simmons. I really don't. On top of all that, he has this insane, freakish speed, too. Just once in a lifetime player. There's a lot of people that have him closer to around 10, top 7, 8 on their board. Is ridiculous. It's an elite player. He would have been number 1 overall for me last year. I'm back and forth with him and Chase Young, too, because, Chase Young's a pass rusher. He's an elite pass rusher. But, you just don't see Isaiah Simmons ever. So, I mean, Isaiah Simmons, let's be honest. Isaiah Simmons is my favorite player in the draft. He's my favorite player. Maybe we're going to look at some more guys here. There's going to be some more guys I'm leaving for last just because how different they are on my board, compared to other people's board, the big difference. But Isaiah Simmons is my favorite player. A guy that gets me excited about the game and a guy that I've just never seen before. You start to see all these different types of players, and he's got Isaiah Simmons in here. It's absolutely ridiculous. And teams are going to pass on him for good players. We're going to pass on an elite player for good player. It's ridiculous. So we'll see. But Isaiah Simmons, my favorite player in the draft, we'll call him. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back 1 for me. Been preaching that for a long time now. Now all of a sudden, nobody had him running back 1. Nobody. Now we're starting to see some people starting to see that. But I really just been on that train for quite some time. I think most people will have, majority of people in the world will have, in no particular order, Swift, Taylor, and Dobbins top 3. So Edwards-Helaire won't be top 3 for most people. And number 1 for me, why? Because he's a total package. Today's NFL, you look at the way he catches the ball at the backfield and downfield. He is an insane route runner. I was going to say out of the backfield, but if you line him up at slot as well. He runs people over. He has the vision. He has the elusiveness. He has the moves. The only thing he's lacking is deep speed. I think he's faster than people give him credit for, but just once he gets downfield, a fast guy will catch him. Not the end of the world. Running backs really, it's kind of a bonus when they just rip a 99-yard run. He brings everything to the game. I like that Joe Burrow says that he's the best player he's ever played with. Love that. Big Clyde Edwards-Helaire fan. Wouldn't be opposed to him going late first round. RB1 all day for me. Probably the biggest impact right away out of the running backs as well. Next up, Terrell. This one's interesting because this was going to be for quite some time now. I had it in my head that Terrell Lewis was going to be my one top guy, my guy. And I don't really have a true. All these guys are pretty even. So it's interesting this year, but Terrell Lewis was going to be that guy because you see him on other people's boards. No one's talking about it. Everyone has him down, and when they're evaluating him, it's kind of just they're trying to evaluate his talent. They're not talking about the injury, so I don't think they moved him down because of his injury. People were just kind of set on him down the board there, second, even third round grades for some time, and I am just blown away by the tape. I think he's a true 3-4 outside linebacker. He's a phenomenal pass rusher. Has the great moves. Just the get off is ridiculous. The get off, but the combination of athleticism and strength, a lot more strength than people give him credit for. Not just rushing from the outside. He's got the inside moves. He'll kind of go off the ball, rush from the interior. He has everything to his game. And he has plays on tape where they won't show up if you go run and look at the stats and the sacks number. It won't really show up, but He deserves, there's some plays where that's even better than a sack, and he didn't get a sack. The impact plays. This guy's a straight beast. He's my third pass rusher in the draft. My board right now, he's top 25, and that's with the injury concerns that we'll talk about in a second. With take away the injuries, he's going to be much higher than 25 for me, and nobody has that even close. Most boards, people got him around 100, but recently, a good chunk, maybe half the NFL has not passed him medically. And he had an elbow injury early on and a knee injury. No major injury this year, though. He played this year, played at a high level, but teams are concerned about kind of the wear of those injuries of them coming back or him kind of not having a long career because of those. So that's going to push him down. He will not go first round because of that. But this guy is a top-tier talent. Whoever gets him early on, he's going to be good. If you give him a shot, he's going to be really good. I can't really say I don't have the medical advantages here. I know the NFL teams don't really at this point, but so I can't say how he'll be long-term, and I understand teams passing on if they're scared of that. But if he gets the shot early on, this guy's going to be good. To me, he's closer to being pass rusher number 2 in terms of his talent than he is 4. I have him at 3, but is a clear top 3 pass rusher, actual pass rusher. Big fan of Terrell Lewis. And then we got Trevon Diggs here. Trevon Diggs is, so back-to-back Bama guys, pretty much at the top for me during this whole process. Trevon Diggs is my cornerback too. I'm on record saying he's closer to being 1 than he is 3. And Okuda's 1, and I'm not changing that, but he's closer to being 1 than 3. Henderson's 3 for me. I think Diggs is better. They're pretty similar players. I think Diggs is better. I watched the tape multiple times, especially because other people have him like corner 6, 7. Some people not call him a first-round pick. And I keep watching the tape. The tape just stands out to me. Cornerback position, he's got everything. You look for, the basics. It's a really good corner class. So these top 9 guys or so, they're all pretty athletic. They're all, they got the footwork, they got the hips. They can be physical at times. They, for the most part, can run. There's no lack of really anything. A big major lack of anything. Believe they can play in any scheme. A lot of them can press pretty well too. It's a pretty interesting class. Some of them lacking maybe tackling department, but nothing absolutely terrible for the corners. But then what's that bonus? What's that bonus? Can he look at the top corners in football? They can do more than just cover a receiver. Most of them out there, even some good ones, they're just kind of just covering a receiver. They're pretty good at covering the receiver. There's more to it than that. Ability to just not be focused on the receiver, be focused on the quarterback. Have the instincts. Where's the ball going to go? When's it going to come out? What route is this guy going to run? Do I understand what route he's running? And being able to make a play. Can he attack the ball? Can he make the play? He checks out in all that, all of it. He has a press. He's very good sitting in zone, leaving his zone, making the play on the ball. Would love for him to be in a press zone team very much, but any team really. The playmaking ability, like I said, footwork's unreal. That's another thing that kind of stands out. Usually when you got to open up your hips, turn direction, you're going to lose some speed. Normal person, even some of these freakier guys, it's normal for them to kind of lose some speed. It just feels like he doesn't. He doesn't lose any speed, it's just all so smooth. So, and then keep in mind, he's only been at the cornerback position for a couple years now. It's kind of just that athlete. Is he going to be just a returner? Is he a receiver? Is he a corner? What is he? So he has upside here. You look at the Jamar Chase game. Jamar Chase beat everybody. I actually take away positives from that game. He was able to be physical, with him. He didn't really get beat because, we've seen Jamar Chase beat guys and embarrass guys because he was just he was just too physical, too strong for them, or he was just too quick, too fast. Really wasn't any of that. Jamar Chase was better. But a lot of times Diggs kind of beat himself. He was kind of over-aggressive, over-physical at times if you go back and watch in his press. And that kind of hurt him a little bit, kind of hurt himself. And that's just something you easily can fix. It's just toned down a little bit, And then for some reason the media just put out there that this guy can't tackle early in this process. Like, Diggs, yeah, he's not the best of the corners because he can't tackle. He missed 6 tackles this year on an insane amount of 720 or so snaps. He can tackle. That is wrong. He can tackle. You wish he didn't miss 6, but it's not the end of the world there at all. And there's a lot of other corners, including Okuda, which I don't have a problem with his tackling. Okuda had more missed tackles on less snaps. Keep in mind, doesn't mean much to me, but that's just something to keep in mind. Who people think he can't, Diggs can't tackle. The problem mainly is He gives up a little extra yards when tackling. Mainly, he's tackling high a lot. I think because he's trying to punch the ball out. So he'll, instead of just bringing him down, gives up the 2-3 extra yards, which matters, which isn't the best thing in the world. It's not a good thing, but it's not the end of the world, especially for the cornerback position. It's not a huge negative either, you know. So I like Diggs a lot. I still think he goes first round. You know, some people just think second round. I still think he goes first round. I think he goes higher than what the people view him as, and and then guys are going to go back and say, okay, yeah, see, the media just kind of fed us this. So, I'm a big Diggs fan. I think he'll be good. Hope he gets on the right team. So those are my guys. Again, I usually try to pick one, but this year was tough because it was going to be, we could show him again, it was going to be Terrell Lewis. I've had this in my mind for maybe a couple months. It was going to be Terrell Lewis, but if the guy, if the guy doesn't even get on the field or something, I kind of get screwed over because of it. But it was going to be Terrell Lewis, two Bama guys at the top. Not a Bama fan. Anybody new maybe be thinking that, but I'm not. Terrell Lewis can be my guy. My favorite player in the draft is Isaiah Simmons. I'm not insanely higher on him than everyone else. So I can't really call him my guy. That's my guy. So it's kind of tough. Some honorable mentions. More guys, and we'll talk about maybe why they didn't make the list. And I could even put more guys. I really like this class. Way more than last year. Definitely guys that I like better for instant impacts. Because the guys I'm always higher on than others. A lot of guys, but these guys I think can make an instant impact as well. Eason, I seem to be, in terms of grade, maybe not, but in terms of ranking the quarterbacks, I think he's better than Justin Herbert. I think Eason has a lot of upside. We were talking about him being a top 10 pick. Early in the year, I think he has that ability in him. Still think he has upside. Never really got a shot long term anywhere. John Hightower, I like. The reason he didn't make the list maybe because I did notice that Daniel Jeremiah is very high on John Hightower too, but that's about it. There's people that have him late day 3 after that, but I look at the speed on the outside. This is a deep threat. People going for that speed outside like Henry Ruggs, Jalen Reagor. What about John Hightower? This guy's an outside speed demon. He ran low 4.4s at the combine. He looks faster than that on tape, and I think he'll be able to be. For the most part, it felt like he was either just a go down the sideline or a deep post at Boise State, and that's what to dislike, I guess. You wish you saw more, but I see the ability for him to do more. He's going to be able to run more in the NFL with the right team. Darnell Mooney's kind of another Henry Ruggs. It's a poor man's Henry Ruggs. That's probably going to be day 3. I turned on the tape, about a month ago. And really liked what I saw there. He does have some drops, but so that really stood out. Now people are starting to talk about him too. Robert Hunt, I have him my number 2 interior offense lineman in the draft. Not a lot of people have that. Another one of those. I kind of got a feeling he can be a pretty big time right guard in the next level. So I threw him on the list. McTelvin Agim, who's starting to get some buzz now, I think will be a lot better pro than he was at Arkansas. They're kind of moving him around a bit throughout the last couple of years, but I think he can be a really good 3 technique. Jordan Brooks, hyped him up early in the process. A dominant run defender. I think he could be a top-tier run defending linebacker early on in his career in the NFL. Just an exciting player, flies around the field. He is starting to get some buzz, so it's not like he's a guy I'm way higher on than everyone else, or I guess the league right now. So he gets the kind of the honorable mentions list, but it's an exciting player. Kenneth Murray, in terms of rank, in terms of linebackers, big board, where I think he'll go, should go compared to, other people's in those categories, it's about the same. So that's why he's on this other list. But why is he on this other list is because I seem to be the only person on the planet that talks about him as a pass rusher. I don't see anybody else talking about that. Yeah, he's an inside linebacker. A lot of people just kind of look at what they're listed as and what the defense ran, and they're kind of done with it. He lined up at pass rusher a bit. I wish more, but a bit, and he was very productive. He looks like a natural. He looks like a guy that can thrive at it. Today's NFL. I'm fine with the team drafting him for inside linebacker. That's probably what should happen. But this guy has a lot more to his game. I think if he was a pass rusher, I still think he'd be a first-round pick. So for those reasons, he's my guy. A very likable guy, too. Reggie Robinson, been hyping him up for some time as a sleeper corner. He has the body and the athleticism, a lot of upside there. He'll go earlier than you think. And then Geno Stone, very fun tape, instinctive safety. Those instinctive safeties, the play recognition safeties really stand out to me. They succeed in the NFL. very much. I do worry about the speed a little bit, and he does need a zone scheme team, zone heavy team. But I do like Geno Stone. The tape is fantastic. The play recognition really stands out to me. So those are my guys. A guy I thought would be high on this list going in months ago, a guy like Laviska Shenault, which the durability I am concerned about, but I do really, he's a ball player. That's what I view him as, so I do like him. I could talk all day about guys, so I just don't want to list the whole damn draft class. That would kind of be defeating the purpose here. So there's a lot of guys I really like, but these are the guys that really stand out. Let me know you're my guys in the comments. I would love to see that. We're gonna be live during the NFL draft. We're gonna start 30 minutes before. Please subscribe to both of our channels. Follow us on Twitter. Hopefully you can join us for that live stream. That would be fantastic. Click that like button. Again, want to see in the comments your guys. I want to see it. Love to see these types of things. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye.